Alright, so today we're going to do the American Adventure Lab brackets for the chop kit on the fenders on a Sport S, where the fenders actually don't come in two pieces, they're one full piece. So we're going to show you how to make them two pieces today with the American Adventure Lab brackets. You'll need a pair of small needle nose pliers, razor blade, 13mm wrench. Sorry about the kids in the back. Body saw, it's kind of optional whether you have it or not, doesn't matter. A small screwdriver, a air-powered wrench, or you can use a standard 1/4 inch drive wrench with a 10mm and an extension. I have an electric impact wrench.
No, I didn't!
Again, sorry for the kids. Electric impact wrench, 13mm. You can use a regular wrench if you need to. A door panel popper and another small screwdriver just in case I lose my first one. Alright, so first we're going to take these out. These are little rivets that go in the bottom of the fenders that hold the inner fender in. I'm going to show you how to do that. So what you'll do, this doesn't go in there very well. It's kind of a pain in the butt. So what you do is you just pry it out and then stick this in there, work it in there. It's kind of a pain in the butt. You're not going to reuse these, so throw them away. And then we're going to do that to all of them. Alright, so as you can see, we got all those removed. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to remove these bolts in here. There's 1, 2, 3. There's also one up here. Make sure you don't miss that one. So we're going to go ahead and remove those with my 1/4 inch wrench, 10mm. Like I said, you can use a normal 1/4 inch drive ratchet, or if you have this, use this. Makes it a lot easier. Alright, next, you have these little plastic rivets that are in here. We're going to take them out. If you have to, use that small screwdriver to get up under there. And just pry them out. There's one there. There's one right here on the outside of the fender. You're not going to reuse these, so if you mess them up, it's not a big deal. There's also some that are inside of here, inside of the fender. You're going to want to take those off as well. They're kind of a pain to get to if you have big tires already, or Alright, so I got all the outside fenders off, all the bolts, and then these inside rivets and the 2 bottom rivets. Once them are all out, this fender flare will actually just pretty much fall out. It's pretty simple. Put that to the side. Next, this is the kind of hard part. I guess you'd say it's not really that hard if you're just careful with it. That's where your small pliers come in hand. So what you're going to do is you're going to come over here, and you have these little white rivets. So first, there is one more bolt right here that we have to take out, 10mm. So we're going to go ahead and take that out. Alright, so we go to these little white clips, and on the back of them, you just squeeze the back of it and just gently pull out on the fender. And it'll just pop out. Make sure you're careful with them, because you will be reusing these. You don't want to break these. And then there's one more that you can't really get to. You just kind of have to pull on it and hope for the best. It shouldn't break, but you can't get to it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull on it. And this one didn't break. Then you have your light wire. It's got a little red clip on there you'll pull out. And then, so this is the red clip. You'll pull that red clip out, and then you'll just push this little tab in, and it pulls right out. Very simple. Alright, so now this is the kind of more complicated part, because they are Sport S fenders and they are one piece, they're not two pieces, so none of this comes out easily. We're going to show you how to do it. So you'll need a T30 torch bit, take the light and everything out, and then a 1/2-inch drill bit. And these are actually plastic welded to the fender itself. And what you're going to do is you're going to very lightly drill them. You have to be careful while drilling these, because you will drill through the outside of your fender if you're not careful. You just barely want to take any plastic off of these. So be very careful with that and very cautious. If you mess up, that's not on me. Again, you will drill through your fender if you are not careful here. So first we're going to remove the harness of the light. You'll need the panel popper again, and then the panel popper for here. You're not going to use any of this stuff again, so we're going to go ahead and remove these. This one here we're just going to cut. I don't really feel like prying it out. I know we're not going to use it again, so it's just a zip tie. Cut it. It's easy. So we got that one. There is one more here, and that takes care of the harness. We're going to do this bolt here. Like I said, you're not going to use this again. It doesn't really break. It comes out pretty easy. So then this will flip up. Here we have a dead B. So you have your Torx. Said they're T30. So go ahead and take them out. Also have one down here, don't miss it. Alright. This whole thing will come off. And get the screw out. Alright, so this whole bracket will come off. Keep it, throw it away, doesn't really matter. We're not going to use it again. And then to take the light out, there's one more bolt underneath that here, and then there's one here. Once you take take them off. This outside light will kind of come loose. Oh, I missed two up here at the very bottom of the light. Alright. There's all them. And this thing just comes right out. Save this because, not that you'll use it again, but apparently they go for a pretty penny on eBay. I haven't really confirmed that. Somebody told me they did. I don't really care. I'll probably just give them away. Alright, so like I said, on these you have to be very careful. You will drill through the outside of your fender. There's a bunch of them. Everywhere it has little 3 marks is one, so they're all the way around this thing. If you don't have another person to help you, you want to keep tension on this, so as you're drilling slow it will pop up and you don't go through the outside of your fender that you're going to put back on your Jeep. It's great to have another person. If you don't, you can use a same pry bar tool that you used earlier. So I'm going to put it down in there, start prying up. We're just going to slowly start drilling. Very lightly, you don't want to push hard. That's it. So I'll show you what it looks like. So when it comes loose, you'll be able to stick the pry bar all the way up underneath it. Like I said, be very careful on that part. You will drill through the outside of your fender. I've already done it. Fenders aren't easy to come by right now because these things are so new. So take it from me, don't learn the hard way. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and drill the rest of these. They're all the same. They do take a little bit of time, being careful. I've done a couple of these fenders, so I'm getting kind of good at it, but still want to take my time and, like I said, make sure, again, I can't emphasize on it enough, do not drill through your fender. Alright, so we drilled. Alright, so we drilled the last one. This thing just lifts out of here. It's this whole piece. And then you're going to have little tabs where they were. You can try to just pull it out to separate it. Problem is, if you pull it, it can rip this fender. But it's up to you, whatever way of messing the fender up. Either way, you just have to be very careful. Like I said, I can't stress that enough. These fenders aren't cheap. Alright, so now the brackets actually sit on this line here. So what we're going to go ahead and do before we put this fender back on, just to make it a little easier, is I'm going to go ahead and chop this off here and chop it off here, and that way I don't have to mess around with any of this or this little flappy shit Jeep put on there. So the fender literally just snaps back into place. When you're ready, you just snap it in. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off real quick. Give me just a second. Alright, so I went ahead and cut this off. It's not usable, so I said throw it away. Now we're going to go ahead and put the fender back on. But before we do that, depending on if you are going to cut your fenders here along this line or not. for me, I'm running 40s, so I'm going to cut these along this line here. And if you do so, this bracket here will come out, which in turn, there's 2 more little rivets here. You will take them out and dispose of this. You will not need it. If you're not going to cut your fenders here, you can leave that in there and keep it, do whatever. If you want to put your inner fenders back in later on, your factory inner fenders, this will help hold them in place. Although you will have to do some trimming, because if you're gonna keep this part, you're still gonna have to do some trimming, because up front we're getting rid of a lot of the place where the inner fender actually connected to. So if you want, buy some aftermarket inner fenders, or if you want to figure out a way to use the factory inner fenders. I'm going to go aftermarket, so I'm not going to worry about trying to fit my factory inner fenders in. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out. I just wanted to show you all that if you are not going to trim your fender along that line, don't remove these. Keep them in. Keep it if you want. It just helps support the fender a little bit. Alright, so now we're just going to snap this fender right back into place. Like I said, it just snaps in. It's really simple. You're then going to take your American Adventure brackets, and these are going to go set in place, and you'll know exactly where to cut your fenders. It's actually going to be along this bottom line here, but if you're not 100% sure or not comfortable with making your own line or anything like that, set these in there, and it comes with bolts, and you're going to go ahead and bolt these in for now. We will end up pulling it back off one more time to finish trimming the inside of this fender between the grill and the bracket. Just makes it easier. If you're brave, you can do it with the bracket on there, but I'm not that brave, so I'm going to pull the bracket off one more time, but I'm going to go ahead and put it on, that way I can get my line for trimming my fenders. Alright, so if you look under here, I'll go ahead and put the bracket on. It is stout. You have a bolt here and a bolt here in factory locations. Use a 13mm socket. I used an electric impact. You can use a 3/8 drive wrench, doesn't really matter, however you want to do it. For them 2 bolts, and that's it. Then after that, the only other thing to do is trim this. They do have a bolt that goes right here on the outside. I'm not putting that on. I don't like the look of it. I don't want a bolt sticking through here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some epoxy on the backside, let it sit overnight, and it should be good. You can use double-sided tape. I've seen a couple people do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a razor blade, do it with a razor blade, and I'm going to cut all the way down this line and follow it all the way around. For me, it worked good. I'll show you on the other side what it turns out to look like. I won't make y'all watch me trim the whole fender. So I still got to go back and clean this one up a little bit, as I tried a couple different options. I tried with a die grinder, I tried with a body saw. A razor blade for me worked the best. Change your blade out every couple, I don't know, inches or so. Turn your blade around, change it out once you feel it start getting dull. I trimmed it all the way around. And that's the final look of it. And I think it turned out good. Like I said, you could probably trim the inner fenders to work. I'm not going to. I'm still waiting on my lights that they send to go here to replace the turn signals. They haven't came in yet, but I couldn't do with the fenders being as big as they were. So Britt, the guy that owns American Adventure Lab, awesome dude. Talked to him, and he said he's going to go ahead and get the brackets sent out so I can go ahead and do this. Thank you. I needed them. So once I get the lights on, or once I get the lights in, I will make an update video. They just bolt right in. I think it's 3 bolts. And then they plug right into your factory harness. So that's it. If you have any questions, let me know.